back. I went to Tennessee, and they have Trader Joe's there.
Mhm.
So there's acai, like a side. I say acai, but like acai, like frozen packets with no
Yeah.
sugar. You can't really find that here.
Mm.
Over here, they're all like the sugar filled packs already.
Yeah.
So I brought back a freezer, like just things in Hawaii you can't really get. I brought back a cooler with it.
Yeah.
We're live. Cool. All right, what's up, everyone? Mahi is out showing houses, so I'm here with my friend and client of sort, my friend Steven. Steven watched the channel, moved to Hawaii from the LA area, right?
Yeah.
LA-ish.
About an hour from LA, but yeah.
Yeah, LA-ish area, Southern California. And ended up renting. So we'll get into that. You have questions, stack us up with your questions as always, whether it be for this one or for the next one. But if it's for Steven, best we get it in now. But ended up renting, had some trials doing that. And just has an interesting perspective of moving here, getting established here, working here, wife working here, kids go to school, public schools, yeah.
Yeah.
And and then Steven hooked me up with a good deal on my truck. So if you guys need to buy a vehicle,
let me know.
Hit Steven up. Tony, well, the Tony Group, it's the only autoplex in Hawaii, right? Right in the Pacific Ocean. If you live in California or Texas, whatever, you're probably used to these autoplexes where there's 5 different car, 10, like there's Toyota and this and that or whatever. And Tony Group's the only one. And I have a friend who worked there since we were in high school when he started. I think his senior year. So I've been going there for years. Like I go get him, we go to the gym. And when I moved back home, we had a Honda. So I'm always there for that. And then you ended up working there with who's the other guy that watched the channel?
Alex.
Yeah. He's fun.
Yeah, both from California. We both moved here same month.
Same month.
We got the job like 2 days apart from each other, and
and he hit us up too.
Spot,
and he hit us up too, and was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about coming out. I might rent or buy or whatever." And I can't tell you the stories he told me about how he got his wife to move out here, but but yeah. Anyway, so a little bit of moving to Hawaii from California versus Hawaii conversation. Family, kids, and we have some old questions. So again, people are probably just coming into the live. Stack us up with your questions. I'll be monitoring them here. Usually have a second or third person monitoring. I'll monitor the questions. But why did you move here? You have Hawaiian blood, yeah? Or some Hawaiian background?
Yeah, so my dad grew up in Hawaii. He was born in Honolulu, raised Big Island, Maui. So he, always talked to us about living here when he was a kid. And, my grandma lived out here and stuff like that. So
she still she stayed here even when you guys were in California? She was living here?
Yeah. She was here. She was on the Big Island in Hilo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So would you guys go visit?
We would visit her. Yeah, we visit her a couple of times, but we really started coming out here about 7 years ago. Bringing our kids a lot and just visiting every island and visiting my grandma too. And we tried to move out to Big Island actually like 6 years ago. And it just didn't work out. We out there you got to buy a house. There's no rentals. So we were trying to buy a house as a first time buyer and late 20s at that time and just couldn't make it work.
So wife was about it? She's always been about it?
Yeah. She likes Hawaii, and we both were like raised in the same town in California, and never left that town. So always wanted to leave, and Hawaii seemed like the best place to go. So so we started traveling here. So.
She's a nurse.
She's a nurse. Yeah.
So she's a nurse. Yeah. You're in the auto industry.
Yeah.
How old are kids?
So I got 16, 14, 13, and 11.
Oh, 16, 14. Man.
Yeah. So I got all 3 schools: high school, middle school, elementary school.
Is it when you go? I'm sure 4 is not much different than 3. Like you've been outnumbered already.
Oh yeah.
But what about from 2 kids to 3?
We went from 2 kids to 4, but yeah, it's
2 to 4.
Yeah, Yes,
Oh,
two of our
wow.
kids are we adopted.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, it was a big change.
Wow.
Yeah. So our kids have been through a lot of change in their life, and they're pretty resilient. So
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. They didn't want to move here, right? Or at least some of them.
yeah, so they
I say
all
some of them, like it was like 100.
no, all four of them. I mean,
All four of them
they
did it?
all grew up in Redlands, and
Had their friends.
that was their town. They've known the kids since like kindergarten.
Yeah.
It was a tough move for all of them. But they were also prepared for years. It wasn't, we didn't just one day up and say, oh, we're moving to Hawaii, which I'm sure a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But yeah, we prepared them for a couple of years. And, when it finally happened, they didn't want to come. But now that they're here and they're making friends here, it's, changed their perspective a little bit.
So I think the way it was like when because I put Steven salespeople through a little bit of a ringer trying to buy my truck, but on like the third time when I finally had the keys or whatever, I think you were telling me about it, and you were like, they didn't want to come, but now they're singing Kolohe Kai and they don't want to leave.
Yeah.
It was Kolohe Kai is one of the Hawaiian bands. Like,
yeah. So the funny thing was, like, I'm kind of like you. Like when I want to do something, I research it a lot and just do a lot of homework. And so obviously moving to Hawaii, we're doing a lot of research. And listening to music, and that's all I listened to for 2 years straight. My kids hated it. They're like, we don't want to listen to Hawaiian music and this and that. And then we come here, and they're singing Kolohe Kai and
now they like
Tongi and Waikiki and all that. So now they're all into it, But,
yeah. And they don't literally given the option right now, they would stay here.
I think it's about 50-50 right now. So we're 6 months in.
50-50 in that they're on the fence, or two kids and two kids?
2 kids and 2 kids.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So we got a couple kids who are a little more involved, playing sports, things like that. So I think they're having an easier time transitioning. The other two are starting to make friends and having fun. But I think if you ask them, a couple of them would still say, "Oh, I'd rather live in California." But give it another 6 months.
Yeah, so you're only 6 months in. It'd be interesting to have this conversation again. But I wonder, even just 6 months in, and you having a dad who talked, about, like my dad. I was born in Florida, so my dad, we'd go to the Oriental store and get like lihimui and these Asian treats, and then he'd tell, in Hawaii, and there was just this thing, but I was being raised in like the South. And then I come here and I spent half my childhood here. And so I know the experience of being a kid in both places. Is my point. I started visiting here when I was 9. As a parent who has, some Hawaii roots from your dad, and now living here for 6 months, kind of not taking into account their opinions, but half and half, taking into account their opinions, but also not like, do you think that it's better that they're being raised here than California?
I think so. Yeah.
It's like we treat humans differently here. It's just different, right?
Right.
The schools, sorry.
Yeah, the schools are 100 times better.
Really?
I mean, I hear all this stuff about
Hawaii's not known for their schools.
I'm telling you, I hear that a lot. But the first thing my kids said when they got here was the food is so much better. The school food.
Oh, really? Oh,
school food is so much better. So
I guess mainland school food is like pizza, burgers.
So yeah, so
like
California, I don't know if all the states, but California went like free food for all a couple years back. So everyone gets free food, and the quality just went way down. You
don't say.
Yeah.
Communism produces not as good food. Anyway.
Yeah. So my kids didn't even eat at school. Like they would go the whole day and not eat, or start taking their own food or whatever. But so they got here and were like really surprised by that. But I think just the culture here, and just the teachers actually care here. Like my elementary school kid gets we get an email from his teacher almost every other day.
Do they do an app?
There's apps too.
Do they? Yeah, because like our kid, my wife handles it all. I don't really do it, but the teacher will like communicate through this app, and it's regular. Yeah, it's pretty Yeah,
I think the teachers care a little more here.
Did you watch? I know you're here and established. You don't watch the videos as much, but we did this Kailua video a few weeks back. I'm like in the thumbnail, I'm wearing like a George Washington wig, and I'm But anyway,
Yeah.
we went into this dog treat shop thing in Kailua, and we met this girl from you remember where in California, she said? Yeah, she was like, you're not gonna know. But it was Southern California. It was some unique part. And then but she said she was not doing good there, like borderline failing there. And she came here and started getting A's. And I was like, here? And she's like, the teachers were just willing to help me.
Yeah.
So, and she's like, where I was, they didn't, I mean, granted, it's a big school, but she's like, they didn't care. It was like, dude, kind of the way she described it was like, you know, you're picking up notes of like burnt out teachers who don't care, but you're also like kind of like a college, like there's so many kids, I can't tutor every one of you.
No.
She's like, here, they would help me like understand things. They would, you know, let me come in at lunch and eat with them and go over things. And so there's two people from LA-ish saying the schools are better here.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, you don't hear that. You just hear all these things about how our schools suck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't say that the schools that they came from sucked, because they're not. I mean, we came from a nice neighborhood over there, but I think just a change in environment for anybody, you know, putting someone in a different environment, it's like you restart.
Yeah, it's a new invigoration.
Putting
Right?
you out of your comfort zone, just helping you grow. And so that's, the hope for our kids is that they get to experience something else, get outside their comfort zone, and, just become more well-rounded people.
So overall, you'd agree, like just better childhood. Like you'll look back in 20 years, you'll have Thanksgiving dinner and it'll be like, well, at least you weren't able to be raised in Hawaii your whole life, but at least you had part of your childhood in Hawaii to all four of you, right? Yeah. So school has been better. That's surprising. What about culturally? Because like I went back to California. I went back to California about a year and a half ago, and it's so polarizing, so political. The freeways were so road ragey, and it was just that's nothing compared to like East, like New York or something, or Jersey or Philly, but still compared to here, I was just like, oh, like I wouldn't not to talk badly about anyone out there watching, but I was like, I'm glad that the things happened that led us back home, because it's just a different life.
Yeah, it's definitely out there as everyone's, for themselves. And the schools, back to the schools out there, they are very political, and they're very teaching your kids a certain way. And at least out here, I haven't heard of any teacher, trying to change a kid's opinion on politics.
Do your kids
shouldn't even be thinking about that,
Yeah. Do your kids' classmates identify as like cats or anything like that here in Hawaii?
I haven't heard that. No.
No, there's no. I'm a non-binary cat, and
no.
That's probably more likely to happen in California, right?
Yeah.
Or
more likely in like Portland, Oregon, but yeah,
for sure.
California's got some of that too.
Yeah, the Bay, for sure. Yeah, when I came home, it was, I don't know if I've told this story on the channel, and it's delicate. Luckily, you're not trying to sell clients the way I am, but I'll walk a tightrope. But when I came home, I had a job at first, and people would say certain things, and I would be like, like someone's gonna call HR, and they were just totally like, "Why are you? Chill, bro." Mm-hmm. And it was at a hospital, and it might be like a girl throwing out something like with a slight sexual tones, or it might be like a girl again saying like, "So gay," and I again. We Mahe, like all of our LGBTQ etc. clients like tend to work with Mahe. Mm-hmm. She's got that vibe, and that's her people, although she has a male fiance. But anyways, we're LGBTQ friendly, and I'm not
but you can talk about it in Hawaii and not feel like you're being like
I was like the guy said, I think it was a female, she's like, "So gay, why you being gay?" Like Mahe will say that even sometimes, but there's nothing negative to it. And actually, I'd be open to saying that we shouldn't even use that, even though it's like a pastime in Hawaii or whatever. Like people say that, like we shouldn't. It's not a good thing to say.
Right.
However, I don't think that you gotta hang someone. I don't think someone has to lose their job because like in California, I remember asking this girl, she was African of some sort.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, where are you from? I'm from Hawaii. We talk. Oh, you're Samoan. Tongan,
Yeah.
Japanese, Chinese. I was like, oh, where are you from? And she's like, why does it matter?
Yeah.
Like,
people get offended for everything.
What do you? No, I didn't mean anything by it. I'm just saying, like, where are you from? I think it's a cool accent. Like, I'm thinking I get to learn about your food. You guys do a lot of breads. You guys do a lot of rices, like potatoes, like stews, meats. Like I'm interested in learning. And she was just so like we stop walking. Like, do I need to call HR right now? Why are you asking me? I'm like, jeez. And shortly thereafter, I left California.
Yeah, I can tell you a couple stories about that. Yeah, from my job and my wife's job, I kind of see two different perspectives.
Okay.
She works in a hospital setting. I work more of a business setting.
Yeah.
But I mean, in my job, there's probably 30 less forms you do versus California.
Oh.
And the forms are very like you're literally signing this one just so we don't get sued because someone 20 years ago sued for that.
There's some precedence form.
Yes. And there's so much. I mean, your packets were this thick,
Yeah.
So I came to Hawaii. I was like, man, there's no paperwork here. This is nice.
Yeah.
So I noticed that right away. And then my wife too, she works in the hospital and just people's conversations in the hospital are more loose. They're not as professional as it might be in California.
But do they still know how to get professional and do their job
absolutely.
very well?
Yeah, and it's more. I think it's more professional because you call them auntie and uncle and you need to go shishi.
Yeah.
So they're a little more personable rather than like just being like a robot in a hospital. But my dad also works in a hospital and we were just visiting last month. And they're decorating their doors for Christmas.
Okay.
And I guess they put some medicine on the doors that was, could have offended somebody because it was
medicine?
Yes, in a hospital.
The medicine in a hospital.
Because the medicine was some type of drug that people use as fentanyl or something. So there's that fentanyl epidemic or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was like vials as a wreath or something like that on their door. They made them take all their door decorations down in the hospital, and someone got offended, right? And
being offended is a choice.
Yeah, whole hospital had to take down their decorations because of that.
Yeah, so
it ruins Christmas.
There are things that are archaic about Hawaii. That guys, stock us up with your questions. Hello from freezing Alabama. Winter bombs here tomorrow morning, -5 degrees. And we're in our t-shirts and aloha shirts. Sorry. My dad lives in Tennessee and it was like -5. Everything's white outside. But there are things about Hawaii being a little bit behind the times that sometimes irritate me or bother me. I've heard some things said a few times since I moved back home that I was like, ooh, get with the times, like grow up a little. But I'll take that for the relaxed nature and everything's not so politically polarized. It's just you can breathe. Like I came home and I was like, oh, normal people who aren't offended by everything.
Yeah,
it's just
it's
better.
I didn't even think about that too much until you brought it up, but yeah, that's definitely a big difference.
You haven't really you guys haven't over a glass of wine had that conversation. You can chill here, or everyone's not yelling about Biden and Trump, or
I mean at work we've talked about it, the differences at work, but our kids too, that definitely it's you can't even say certain things around them because at school they're telling them no, you can't say this, and then they come home and you want to just talk to your friend and all of a sudden you're saying something that their teacher said is offensive.
That's California. That's here
California,
too. Yeah.
So I haven't heard of that since we've been here, which is nice.
Yeah. It's a breath of fresh air for me to come home. But that said, I enjoyed my time in California. The whole, Berkeley, San Francisco, crazy stuff. I was doing yoga in Berkeley and drinking kombucha and going to health food store. I enjoyed that season. But man, there's It's like a social anxiety that the whole hive has
Mhm.
in these California cities that we don't have in the same way here.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's your wife like it? She's Filipino.
She's Filipino and Hispanic. Yeah.
And Filipino and Hispanic,
Yeah.
but grew up in California.
Yeah.
And she's a badass, like degrees, excelling in her career, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and I know, did she work at like a bigger hospital, like Cedar Sinai or something over there?
No, it was Redlands Hospital. She worked
Smaller too.
Yeah, it was a community hospital.
So she's used to this, you know.
It was
Smaller
bigger than the
hospital.
one she's at now.
Oh, it was?
Castle's pretty small too. But,
Yeah, it's very small. Yeah.
but yeah, it wasn't. It was a local hospital that were city we grew up. Like we both worked 5 minutes from home.
Okay.
You know, so we both worked a couple streets away. But yeah, she's definitely in a smaller hospital now. But yeah, she did really well there and got her master's degree in nursing, and then she's back in school to get her nurse practitioner. And
Yeah.
that's
too
she
much
just loves
school for
school,
me,
you know.
man.
She just wants to keep going to school, but she's
Yeah.
almost done with that. So
Yeah.
hopefully she's
And she likes Hawaii.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's enjoying. Hey, I'm gonna go on about. We're gonna continue on this topic. Since all you guys are watching from the freezing mainland, like everywhere is cold on the mainland right now. Let me know where you are, how cold it is, and how much you hate us for being in slippers and t-shirts. But and also if you have questions, moving to Hawaii, Steven, you know, when we do these lives, people start coming in after the fact. So we have a lot more people than we had when we first opened, who first came on. Steven's from California, Southern California, moved to Hawaii. We met, became a friend, bought my truck with him. And I thought it'd be cool to come on and chat with someone who came from California, which is where a lot of people end up coming from, but just from the mainland in general with a family. So stack us up with questions, or if you have non-questions about this, if you're like, hey, what about that new development in Eva? Like, just ask us all your Hawaii and real estate questions. I'll chime in. And we save these questions for after the fact, and we'll answer them on the next one. But we were talking about, so your wife, she's digging it. She likes it.
Yeah.
So I have this. We have a listing coming up. Well, we have more. We have like 8 listings coming up, but one of them, the couple moved from California, and for the wife, it just wasn't it. Like, they visited here a lot, they loved it, but being here, being isolated, being away from family, it wore off quick.
Yeah,
it wore off quick. You think your wife's gonna be all right?
I think so. Yeah, she's we both had the same idea that we always wanted to, you know, move to the beach or move out of Redlands, probably more coastal.
Yeah.
And you know, this is definitely better than California coastal, I think.
Yeah.
She's also
there's spots in California on the coast. The water's cold though.
The water's cold. Yeah. It's and it's more expensive. I mean, to live by the beach in California versus living by the beach in Hawaii, I think is in proximity, at least, because everywhere in Hawaii you're 10 minutes, 15 minutes from the beach, you know, most places. But
so yeah, Steven lives in Hawaii Kai. So too, if you have Hawaii, you were gonna live in Kailua.
Yeah.
Couldn't find a rental. We'll get into that too. We'll transition to that. But you're in Hawaii Kai. So what would be a California equivalent to Hawaii Kai? Like Newport, Dana Point for Southern California?
Yeah, I would say Newport's like a smaller community.
Yeah.
Close to the beach. Yeah. Nicer though. Newport's, you know, nothing wrong with Newport, but it's cold there, you know. It gets cold.
Yeah.
It's nicer.
What about like a Seal Beach or something? That's more like it's not really Hawaii. It's like something in between Kailua and Hawaii Kai, Seal Beach.
Honestly, I've never been to Seal Beach.
You've never been to Seal Beach?
No.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, anyways, California has nice, like I think the beach. I've surfed like around Trestles, Churches, Old Man's, and like San Clemente area. I surfed San Diego once. I was in Santa Cruz. Like the California coast, it can be breathtaking. It's beautiful. Yeah. But to your point, it's cold. It's expensive.
Yeah, I was an hour and a half away from the beach too. So, you know, I kind of stayed in my bubble. I worked a lot. And, you know, when we made it out to the beach, I mean, me personally, I went out once a year, twice a year, if that.
Oh, yeah.
My wife went a little more with the kids and stuff. But
so where is Redlands? Is like Corona, San Bernardino kind of thing?
Closer to San Bernardino, yeah. It's It's in between like Los Angeles and Palm Springs.
Okay.
But San Bernardino is right next to it. So San Bernardino, then Loma Linda, then Redlands. And
So is it be considered Inland Empire?
it is.
Yeah,
it's
Inland
Inland
Empire.
Empire.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, this Hawaii's better. We've established that
Yeah.
multiple times. But where were we going with that?
Yeah. But you're saying, yeah, my wife, she's an artist too. So, she loves the scenery here and
What kind of art? Like painting?
painting, pictures.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
drawing, just a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But I think being here just gives her more inspiration,
I went to lunch yesterday in Hawaii Kai. We had a business meeting in the midday. We had a listing appointment in the evening. In between, we had some time to kill. We went to lunch, and this guy walked up to us. He's like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I watched the channel. I've watched it for years. I moved here. I was working with Mahe, and I was like, 'What's your name?' And I knew his name. Shout out to Jeremy. I knew who he was as soon as he said it. I had never met him. Actually, I couldn't put a face to the name. But point being, he said that he had health problems in Portland, and he moved here. And he said those health problems pretty much went away. And people talk about Hawaii having healing properties, whether it be more, spiritual and energy wise, or just cleaner air. But he was like, man, he's like, I don't know. Cleaner air, nicer people, calmer state seems to have affected my health. Yeah, in a positive way. So I would agree with that for me too, I think.
Yeah, me too.
I think I'm able to chill out more.
Yeah, less stress here.
Yeah.
Yeah, work environment's definitely different.
But then a lot of local people if local people are listening to this, they're like, I don't know what world you guys live in. I'm working 2 jobs to make it. It's expensive. There's bad traffic. I'm super stressed. So I guess it depends.
I think there's that in California too. A lot of my family and friends are really struggling in California.
Being in poverty is tough anywhere.
It's expensive everywhere, and that's just the way things are going right now. But hopefully that settles out a little bit.
You have to pay California property taxes here. That's one thing.
Yeah.
How about so tell us about finding a rental. You had a hell of a time.
Yeah. So we came out here in May, and we didn't have a job at that time. So we came out here in May, and just need to find a house so we can get our kids signed up for school and kind of get settled before we actually moved out here. And every place we went to basically turned us down.
How many do you think you guys looked at? So I'm just chatting
6,
to people.
I think we looked at 6 houses. So the very first one we looked at, we actually wanted, and like we'd been eyeballing it for like a month. It was on the market. So we, I had already talked to the people, set the appointment to see it. That was the first house we saw.
And you do finance in the auto industry. So like, your credit's solid, you're like, we're good candidates.
Yes. I thought for sure.
Pretty good candidates.
We just say, yes, we want it. And they'd give us a fee, but they wouldn't rent to us.
Yeah.
They wouldn't rent to us. They wouldn't respond to emails, wouldn't respond to texts, calls, nothing.
And you were even like, I can pay a year in advance.
Yep.
By the way, if anyone's looking at, we don't do rental placement, but I do want to help you. I want to help you. So if I can answer questions on this live, great. You're not a landlord or a property manager in Hawaii is not supposed to accept advance payment. They're only supposed to collect the first month's rent and security deposit, pet deposit if there's one. If you want to pay 12 months in advance, that's your prerogative. However, technically, they should only accept that the day after the lease starts. So once you've entered, rental matrimony with these 2 entities with under the rules and the confines of Hawaii renter law, then you can on the next day go and pay whatever you want. But it can't be a contingency to accepting you. Like I can't say, well, I'll give you this place if you give me the $24,000 in advance, whatever. That's me kind of exploiting using my leverage to exploit. So technically they're not supposed to accept. It happens, but technically they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you were, good candidate, strong candidate, looking at places, even places that were sitting, then didn't.
Yeah, it was sitting, and it might have been sitting for other reasons other than they weren't getting applicants. I think they had work done to it or something. But
oh, okay.
yeah, it sat for like over a month, and we're like, man, no one's taking this place, and it's still
We'll take
available
it.
when we're there. We'll get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they wouldn't return our calls, and they said, well, you don't have a job yet. So that's when I'd already interviewed at Tony Group and a couple others, and I felt like Tony Group was the right spot for me. So I called them. I said, hey, I accept the job, but I need a job letter like today.
Yeah.
So they got me the job letter and gave it to them. Gave them more than what they asked for, as far as proof of income and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, they wouldn't rent to us.
Wow.
So they finally, like a week after we had already found a house, they're like, oh yeah, we went with another candidate, and they finally responded to my email 2 weeks later.
Wow.
But yeah. So we had that one, and then another house we looked at. We went with our family, with our kids and stuff, and I got 4 kids, so we're all excited and trying to pick out a room and running around and just saying, hey, this is my room, and being kids. And so we said, hey, we want this house too, and guys seemed like everything was good, and got a text the next day, and we were already celebrating. We thought it was ours. He was like, yeah, it should be good to go. I'll just let the landlord know. So got a text the next day and said, yeah, the landlord is going to go with somebody else because he said some things he probably shouldn't have, but basically told us that we had too many kids and they didn't want to ruin the house. So, so got a little judged, and maybe they had a better candidate. I don't know, but but yeah, didn't go with us. So went through quite a few no's before we got to a yes.
That's crazy. Yeah, and you actually, it's not typical. Well, you working in the industry and being the guy you are, I get it that you're like, all right, let me get creative here. But it's not typical that most people would think of or execute upon offering people more, like, hey, I'll fix this and then I'll give you more in rent or whatever. But you had to go to those links to get a rental.
Yeah. So we found a place our last day that we were here. So we're like, man, we need this. This has to be it, So we found a place. It was perfect. And they had an AC unit that wasn't working. And he was like, hey, this doesn't work. Don't know if we're going to fix it yet or not. So I'm not promising anything, but this doesn't work,
Yeah.
So after we saw the house, we wanted it. And again, they said, hey, we're accepting your application, but we're still going to have an open house this weekend. We want to get the best candidate. So that's when we had to get a little creative and said, hey, your rental is priced a little bit below what others in the area are priced. So we're willing to pay this for it. And also you mentioned that air conditioning, you weren't sure if you're going to fix it or not. As a gift for renting to us, we'll install a AC unit for you.
Wow.
So that's what it took to get a place.
That's crazy.
In the time frame we were trying to get it. So
I find that, well, you have a small pet too.
We have a small dog, yes.
So that, I mean, having kids, like if I were renting, I wouldn't bring my 2 boys in the house.
Now I know. So don't bring your kids to a.
They would only meet my wife and I. Probably, in fact, I'll try to just introduce her to people. I'm got big energy and whatever. So, but when if you go on a rental site or whatever, and you're vetting out rentals, if you click accepts pets, the list here in Hawaii, the list shrinks to almost nothing. Whereas I've looked at investing in other states like Alabama, and they're like, you have to accept dogs. Like brand new house, even like just flipped or just built. They're like, if you don't accept pets, it could take us 6 months to rent your place.
Yeah.
And so people come here and they're astonished. I've even had mainline clients offended that property managers will write in that no shoes are allowed in the house.
Oh, wow.
And like, hey, you must, because I just call it what it is. If a property manager sees a local certain ethnic couple or whatever, they're like, yeah, it goes without saying, they're not gonna wear shoes in the house. But if they see like a couple from Alabama, then they might be like, hey, look, no shoes in the house.
Yeah.
And I've had people really offended, like, who are they to tell me what I can wear in the house I'm renting? Well, they own it, so, and it's not customary here. And so it's a different world trying to rent and live here.
Definitely.
Yeah. Got some questions? All right. Thank you guys. Love stack us up with the questions. How much is an HVAC system in Hawaii? That stuff needs to be imported. Depends. So when you say HVAC system, I'm usually thinking of central air, central heat. And most houses don't have that. Most houses have split AC units. So it'd be like there's an AC unit up on the wall, and then the plumbing and electrical runs through the walls, and then the condenser units outside. So rather than there being a condenser unit outside, so central air, condenser unit outside runs into the ceiling where there's a handler, and then it just like disseminates, distributes air throughout the entire house at 70 degrees or whatever. There's like one unit for a room, but then it's outside. That's almost, other than like certain homes who've been retrofitted and or new homes in Eva and Kapolei, almost no homes have central air. So, but shorter answer, HVAC unit can cost, central air, if you have to replace the condenser or compressor, I'm using the wrong words, but like 8,000 plus. I had a tri-zone. Did you guys install split AC?
Yeah.
So I had a tri-zone installed. So there's 3 things on 3 different walls and 3 different bedrooms and one big unit outside. And mine was like, I got the electric free because my brother-in-law, but without the electric, it was like $5 or $6 grand for those 3. And then if I wanted to replace the one in my living room or put one in my garage, which is a bigger, stronger one, it was going to be another like 4,500 or $5 grand. And that's 2 years ago. How much you guys?
Yeah, it was much more than that. Yeah.
Much more?
Yeah.
Should have hit me up, man.
I should have. No, I got a few different quotes. Yeah, just one unit. If I could do it again, I would have done it different.
Okay.
I got one big unit in one room. I should have probably split between 2 small rooms, two rooms.
Sometimes you can't because the tri-zone.
I could have on this one.
Oh, you could have?
Yeah, they just, I was doing it just to get a place. So it's like, this isn't my house. I don't want to spend the extra money, but I probably should have spent an extra 1,000 or whatever to split in 2 small units. But now it was, the smallest unit was probably 8,000. And then the one we went with was, like another 4 or 5.
My guy, well, he since moved, but I say my guy lived in Hawaii Kai too. I could have hooked you up.
Yeah.
Next time. When you buy your house. What's the general rule for security deposits for rentals in Hawaii? 1 month up front. Yes. Yeah. They cannot charge more than, so if you're paying 2,000 rent, they can't tell you 4,000 security deposit. So 1 month's rent, 1 month security deposit, and then additionally, it could only be a pet deposit. That's discrimination. Probably an excuse for the landlord after money. Yeah, it is this. I would definitely not say that if I were a property manager. I'm from the Chino Inland Empire area, and I'm Filipino. My family of 4 visits Hawaii every 6 months, and we love it. We can't get enough of Hawaii.
Yeah, beats the Inland Empire for sure.
Beats the Inland Empire. Can you do the landlord law to force the landlord to fix the HVAC? I'm not a property manager. I've managed a little bit. It's not my lane, but if you live in a place and the AC is working and it's a part of the whole situation, and then it breaks, then I'm pretty sure they'd have to fix it. It's not like Vegas though, because if it breaks, you might die. Dude, there's tons of homes in Hawaii that just don't have air conditioning, period. And I don't know of a home in Hawaii that has a heater. So there's some with fireplaces, which are kind of cute and almost never needed. But those are really old homes. And I think just people like aristocrats building them back in the day expected a fireplace. So in the case where the AC was already broken, and if they said AC is broken, we're not fixing it, I think they'd be fine. The other thing they could do is just, was it already a split that you were replacing?
Yes. Yeah.
They could just take it down. It's like, this is just not part of it. And I know when he was saying that earlier, I bet you I was like, there's people listening from the mainland that are like, what? You could never like rent a place in Ohio and they say, by the way, the HVAC's broken and we're never going to fix it. Like there's probably some law against that. But here, I would venture to say most homes don't have anything more than windows or a window unit. Not even split. Like I would say probably less than 50% of homes have split or central air.
Yeah, two of our rooms don't have AC, and they're not unbearable. You know, it's a
Yeah.
little hot in the summer, but open the windows and
But
fans are fine.
in Redlands, you would never. Like you're just not gonna have a no HVAC home, right?
Yeah, no, Redlands gets hot.
Yeah.
It's 110 in the summer sometimes.
But if you hide your kids and they found out they can get evicted, they'll probably keep your money. Yeah, I wouldn't. On the rental application, I would disclose the humans that are going to live there. But I wouldn't want you meeting my two boys at the same time if I were trying to rent your place, because I don't have to let you meet them, right? It's like, yeah, I have two kids. They're being babysat. They're not here, and my boys are amazing, but together at their ages, it just gets chaotic. How much is a split AC? Yeah, we covered that. Oh, I love you guys. You guys quiet for 30 minutes and now all the questions. What do you know about the new development bank for assets-backed transactions dealing with the real estate market, not CBDC? I don't know. Actually, not sure what you're talking about. You can go cheap with the window ACs for like 300, I think split. Yeah. I mean, actually, I've had some window units installed. 300 is like what the unit may cost at Home Depot, but to have them like a better unit delivered and installed is probably going to cost you like 800 plus for like a good installer, if that's what they do. Hello from Fort Collins, Colorado. Oh, I know that's cold. 22 degrees here and dreaming of the warm shores of Hawaii. Stay warm, Colorado. I saw a thing. I was at the gym this morning and they were talking about how there's like avalanches and stuff. Have you seen how like the winter storm happening on the mainland?
No, I try to not look at the mainland anymore.
So apparently
I've heard, it's been cold.
A winter vortex. It's like it like comes from the north and circles or something. Wow. But yeah, like Tennessee was -5 this morning.
Wow.
And they don't usually get that cold.
Yeah, it's been a little colder here too, hasn't it? Someone told me it's been a little colder this week.
We were cold. Yeah. Oh no, this past week, that's cold.
Yeah.
But we get that every year. So it got down to the 50s in Wahiawa, like 58, 57 or something.
I had to wear pants for the first time.
You wore pants?
Last week, yeah.
Well, you wear them to work, right?
To work, yeah.
But you chose to wear jeans outside of work?
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it though, because I mean, I'm not as like motivated to go to the beach or something when it's 72 and windy or 60s at night. But it's been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The wind's a little much recently. Isabella, thank you. You don't have to send us money. I think she sent us a tip. I don't know if we can turn that off so people don't send. But thank you. We appreciate it. Do people do campfires on the beach in Hawaii? They do. Not supposed to, but they do. And the problem is they burn pallets, and the pallets have nails in it. So now in the sand, there's all these nails, and that's it's not good to do. Is there a program to match the property owners to Lahaina residents who are affected by the fire? I don't know of a program, but I know of a 1-bedroom that I wanted to get some Lahaina residents in. I don't own it, but I know someone who owns one, and I wanted to get some people in. But what you found is the people in Lahaina, they either just left Hawaii, left Maui, or if they're like local and rooted there, they just stay because they have family in Wailuku or they just figure it out. So Oahu actually hasn't had this flood of like Maui people like you might think. Can you do a video on what you get with a small budget? I'm looking at fixers and Waianae and condos downtown. I have 300,000 in equity. Yeah, we could probably do a video like that or answer it on here. When you say 300,000 equity, are you trying to buy a place, cover the renovations for 300,000? If so, you're like strictly look at Makaha Valley Plantation or the few condo buildings in Makaha. There might be some in town, but I'll probably be looking at Makaha Valley Plantation. Strange question. We'll be PCSing and deciding to rent versus possibly reaching out about purchasing in Kailua. Been reading about weird sewage smells and bacteria levels in Kailua. Is this a legit problem? Robert, I think you're specifically looking. Oh, I don't have my map. Oh, wait, look right here. I can't find it. I can't point to it in time, but I think specifically in the Aikahi area. So if you're coming from Kaneohe, you come down into Kailua, there's a sewage treatment plant that's near that Kalaheo hillside and Aikahi area. We have clients that live there, and so I could connect you with them if they're open to it. Almost all of our clients would be. This guy does something a little, his job's a little more secret, but if not, I can relay the answer. But I think it's not a Kailua at large problem, I guess is my point. There's also a part of like the Coconut Grove area where there's a park behind that has a bit of a marshy area. So I could see it get a little funky at times. But Kailua at whole is not there's not a sewer smell. That's not a thing in Kailua at large. You ever smell sewer in Kailua?
Never, no.
Yeah.
No.
You guys wanted, given the option, you guys were going to rent there, yeah?
Yeah, so
that beach life.
Being out here though, and looking online, it's a lot different. Now that we're in Hawaii, I really like it.
Let's talk about that. So I'm going to pause on Robert S's question. Robert, hit us up. We're not high pressure salespeople, so we might as well talk. If you're like, hey, I don't want to buy a house, that's the end of it. We're not bothering you. So reach out, bro, and thank you for your service. I'm going to pause on that one. Stack us up with more questions, whether it's for Steven, who moved from California with his family, or just real estate at large. Ask us all your questions, and I'll go back to them. How is it different from looking at homes, watching our channel, just looking at homes online, and then getting here? Like, what do you mean?
So the distance that you see online, it's like, oh, it's only 12 miles away. 12 miles in Hawaii is a lot different than 12 miles on the mainland.
California. It's not just the interstate.
Yeah. I mean, even the highway, the highway here is windy. You're going around mountains, you're going, your elevation changes. So you're just, you're driving slower, and it's not just a straight highway.
Okay.
So even my work, my work is, 26 miles from home, but it's an hour drive, in California, that's a 26-minute drive,
Well, Inland
with no
Empire.
traffic. Yeah.
Inland Empire. But if you're like traversing San Francisco or something,
Right.
because you're traversing, for the people, he lives in Hawaii Kai, works in like central to leeward Oahu. So you're traversing all of town, which Honolulu, the city, we call town, all that Pearl Harbor, Hickam, Shafter, Tripler, airport stuff. Like, you set yourself up to commute,
Yeah.
Most places you wouldn't have an hour.
So
commute.
yeah, but even Kaneohe. So Kaneohe was somewhere that we're looking into and that we really liked. But once we got into Kaneohe and just saw how long it took to get to the top of Kaneohe,
like a Huimanu kind of area.
I don't know what it's called, but
like,
the houses that we looked at were right above that, like the cemetery memorial place.
Yeah.
Like above there.
Yeah.
Getting from there just to the highway takes you a while. You have that
to get on the H3.
Yeah. And then
and that road does get backed up.
It does. Yeah.
On Cam Highway there, it can get backed up.
Yeah. So I think when we went to see a house there, we're like, oh, this is where the kids' school is, so we saw the school. And then by the time we got to the house, we were in that highway that was backed up. And like, this is how the kids are going to get to school every day. You know? It's not just 2.1 miles. It's, 30 minutes,
We're more urban. So we just did a video on Honolulu on town. And when we were in Kapiolani Park, in Waikiki, that huge grassy park.
Yeah.
That's like the central park of Oahu.
Mm-hmm.
And I pointed out to Mahi and to Kenji, I was like, think of another place with this much grass on Oahu. Like, you would think you're moving to lush tropical paradise. There'd be all these huge green areas. Like, the mountains are all green, but usable land, we've used that. Like, we've put concrete houses. And so one consistent, large, 20-acre lot of grass, Oahu rarely has that. Or 100-acre. We don't really have that, So point I'm making is it Oahu can trick you into not realizing how much of a city and urban area this is.
Yeah.
So when you say mainland, if you're comparing it to Inland Empire or Texas or something, Yeah, to go 12 miles here is different. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you were comparing it to the Bay, like Oakland, San Francisco,
yeah,
this is easy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in downtown LA, I mean, the traffic's worse there, you know.
The 405 at 5.
Yeah, but 26-mile drive for me, I thought was going to be a 26-minute drive. You know?
Yeah. So you actually bought a commuter car because of it.
Yeah.
Because your car just ate too much gas, right?
Yeah. So I bought another car to just get to work.
Yeah. What else was different looking at California, or just being from California, looking at homes here, and then when you got here, about whether the people, the homes, like what was not what you expected? Because you guys have visited a lot. You had this channel.
Yeah.
You're a big researcher like I am. But there's still some things were different. Like other than distance and timing and stuff, what else was different than you thought it would be?
I would say like size of parking spaces. Like you don't think about that.
Yeah.
So I had a big car, and yeah, man, like there's some parking structures where I was scraping the top of my car, you know, and
it's not lifted though, right?
It's not lifted, but it has a roof rack, and it's it's a big car. But yeah, I would scrape the top, or just can't park, you know.
So again, it's just a city. Park.
Yeah. So that's another thing. Like, you know, don't ship your car. You know, sell your car out there and buy a new one, or because it's not like my thinking was that cars are going to be way more expensive out here.
I tell people that on the channel. So educate us, because I'll tell people, look, you buy a used car out here, it might have roaches. If your car had 50,000 California miles on it versus, you know, like maybe just ship your car. It's only $1,500 or whatever. Just ship it. But you're saying no need?
So I think everyone's different, but in my case, I would have, if I could do it again, I would have sold my cars and bought new ones.
Yeah.
Because even my wife, you know, she wanted to keep her car, and she was leasing it. She's going to buy it out, keep it.
Yeah.
But you know, driving from Hawaii Kai to Waimanalo every day, she was driving a little, you know, a BMW, a small car.
Yeah.
A 323. So hitting those potholes, boom, boom, boom. You know, it's a rough road.
We're not known for our smooth roads.
Yeah. So she's like, well, you know, I'm going to ruin my car on this road. So, you know, end up getting her a new car, in a little SUV.
That's true.
And in my case, you know, I had a big car that was perfect for the family, and like, yeah, I'm going to keep this car forever, pay it off. Like, this is going to be the family car.
Yeah.
And, but just driving that car and parking that car and going to the grocery store wasn't convenient, you know, in that car. So, you know, now I take that car out when I have visitors, you know. Other than that, I drive my commuter everywhere.
Yeah, it's different. So like I owned a Subaru Outback, and so my thought was, I want more room. I want safe. Subaru's like good marketing for their safety ratings, right? We want to have all-wheel drive. I can go to Tahoe, because I was in California at the time, for the audience. I was in California. So I want safe. And then these days, if you're not doing 90, they're pissed off at you in California. So I'm like, I'm going fast. I want safe. Trucks are cool. You know, I grew up surfing. A little truck is cool, but it just didn't make any sense for my life there. And if you're in Colorado or Seattle or San Francisco and you drive a Subaru, like it just fits into the culture.
Yeah.
So the point I guess I'm making, you move to Hawaii, you get settled in here, you might not want what you drive wherever you are.
Yeah.
You may, or you may not. You know, you might be like, you know what? Let me get a little smaller SUV, or let me get a little pickup truck. Like I got a Nissan Frontier recently. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if your car's paid off, you know, and it's not a giant car, move, you know, ship it over, stay here for a while, figure out what works for your needs, but you'll probably be buying another car.
Yeah.
You'll probably be buying something else in 6 months to a year. So I couldn't imagine driving my car around for a year. I had to get something new.
It's too big.
Yeah.
It wasn't made for this.
And my wife's car too. She, you know, she had to get something new. So
yeah.
But moving out here, we had no intention of buying a car ever again. We're gonna pay them off and keep them.
And that's the thing, is where do you land when you get here? Like, because if you end up in Kailua near the beach, maybe you're like, I don't want to have this nice BMW that just get rusted for all this salt water. Or maybe you end up in a tight parking, or like, I get it.
Yeah. I
can see the reason why not to. Steven got it. All right. We're gonna answer a few questions and then we got to wrap this one up. Past few days, it's been in the negatives here. Sorry, I was born and raised in Hawaii. We used Toshiba fans. Then the front door was open. The C-130 cockroaches came flying in. Bro, my wife found a cockroach in my house. Dead one. She makes sure to get rid of it before she told me. It's still
Better than centipede. Yeah.
I don't
We
know.
had a couple of those.
I might take an armed robber
Yeah.
over a cockroach. Can you do a video, small budget, fix it? Okay, we're moving on from this. Robert, hit us up. Back to the sewer things, only a specific area of Kailua. I can show you how the wind blows. But yeah. And also, if you haven't watched our VA loan video, make sure you watch that. Hit me up. Let me know if you watched it. This is my personal phone on here. You can text the number. I'll send you the VA loan video. You can kind of look at the opportunity cost. But I'm not a pushy guy. In fact, one of the other questions that was left on, I think the last live or another video was, should I buy? I'm only going to be there 2.5 years. My answer is probably no. And if you're going to buy with only 2.5 years left here, you have to be, and which means maybe 2 years, because maybe you leave early or maybe you don't buy at first or whatever. With 2 years, you have to, your exits have to be such that if you exited and you were cash flowing negatively, you'd be willing to sustain that for a period of time, which we can run the math on, to then eventually make a lot more. Because here's my question to you: would you take a 500 per month loss for a year, 2 years, 3 years, if then you made $100,000? Well, 500 per month is what, 6,000 a year, $18,000 over 3 years. So would you take an $18,000 a month loss? Now let's not talk about the tax benefit and some of the other things that come with it. If then the market were going to go up and you made 100, that's just a hypothetical. I'm not saying you're going to make 100, but you would. I'll make that investment every 3 years, like 100%. But are you okay with that 3-year period? So I'm never going to push you to buy, but hit us up. All right. Question for Steven. Might be off topic, but I've been wondering about this. Fresh produce. No, that's not the one. But fresh produce is expensive in Hawaii since it has to be shipped over. Are locals against expanding agriculture? We don't have the fresh food culture of California. I'll just say that. But if you know how to shop and look and go to farmers markets and join what are they called? C something, where they deliver boxes, CSA. Like you can get, you have veggies delivered, you have CSA subscription or whatever. You can make it work, but it's not like California where the gas station has kale. Maybe not all of California, but in the Bay and Alameda, like every corner, like just a little corner store would have like fresh kale.
Yeah, it's definitely fresher vegetables in California.
Yeah.
Onions are hard to find good out here.
Onions?
Yeah. I found, well, I mean, Hawaii onions are fine, but like yellow onions, they're old
by the time they get in.
Yeah. Maybe it's the season right now too, but
you brought back masa to make tamales too. And we were talking about that before we came on. I was like, couldn't you just buy that here?
Yeah.
And you're like, nah, not really.
I got a spot in California. I got to freeze it and bring it back,
Okay. Basher? Yeah. Question to Steven. Sorry, I missed it. Thank you. How's the cost difference living here in Hawaii versus California? Groceries, gas, restaurants, shopping, etc. We've done some videos on this, so scour our library, but kind of more surface anecdotally, like how is the cost of living?
I would say in the past 2 years in California, they've caught up to Hawaii. So it's
and when you say California, you're talking Inland Empire,
right,
LA-ish area.
Inland Empire. As far as like gas and food and just cost of living, homes, everything's gone up, everywhere, but it's very similar. Food's a little bit more out here, but I mean, that's to be expected, right?
I did a video where we went to Food Line and Costco, and I was like, milk here, milk there, eggs here, eggs there.
But Costco's not.
Costco's not bad.
You go to Costco and it's almost identical.
But if you go to like Food Line or Safeway here and just get a milk, it might be $13. And so people look at that and they go, I could never live there.
Right. Yeah. You got to go to Costco. It's a lifesaver. But
do you know anyone here who doesn't have a Costco membership?
No.
It's just not a thing. You got to, right? Unless maybe you're military and you do all your shopping on the base.
Yeah. No, Food Line, Safeway, those are great, for you need something small, but
get your poke.
Yeah. Other than that,
run in, run out.
Yeah. But it's very similar. Like I was saying, even with cars, I expected cars to be more out here. And
are they not?
They're not. No, the used car market's almost identical. And even new cars, California is a pretty competitive market, but they have a lot of dealer add-ons. Hawaii has a markup. California has a lot of dealer add-ons. I haven't seen many dealer add-ons here. I've seen a couple here and there, but not like California stacked. Like you get 5, 6, 7 dealer add-ons, and you can't take them off the car. Right.
What's a dealer add-on versus a markup? Semantics?
A digital license plate. A digital license plate costs you $1,500. Door edge guards that cost you $500. Alarms that cost you $1,000.
Wait, they have digital license plates?
Yeah.
So your license plate is
Digital,
electronic? Like
and it comes with a subscription you got to pay for.
So what? I can't when the cop
it's cool, but
the cop passed by, I can't just turn them off, change the license plate number.
No. It's like it's regulated and stuff. DMV, but
I feel like
there's
that's
a
unnecessary.
bunch of stuff. Yeah. So California had during COVID, everyone had markups because supply, right?
Yeah.
But as dealers started to take markups off, they started putting add-ons on. And now it's just a game of is it a markup or is it an add-on? Out here, it's more straightforward. It's there's a markup, but if we have the supply of vehicles, we're willing to take it off. If it's a car that's in high demand that everybody wants that we only have 2 of, you're gonna pay a little more, right?
It's business.
But dollar to dollar, I mean, it's not more expensive to buy a car here. I would say the cost of shipping the car is going to outweigh the difference in the price if you're just looking to buy a car.
Okay. So. All right, I got 2 things to end on. Guys, leave your questions. Which car brand is the least cost of ownership in Hawaii?
Hyundai. I'm get a Hyundai.
Yeah, that's right. Example: abundant car parts, reasonable maintenance. Camry. I don't know if I don't think that answer is different if it's Hawaii versus California. I think it's and these days, like a Honda Civic versus a Toyota Corolla versus a Hyundai, would it be a Sonata, Elantra? Elantra, like they're all. My mechanic in Florida, he's like, buy a Hyundai, and he's like, they're cheaper. I forget what he said. He was like, you're getting a better, more
value.
More value is what he. This is granted, it's 15 years ago, but I think you buy the car you want. Like when I just went deep into cars because I bought a new truck. The difference between a Nissan Frontier and a Toyota Tacoma and a Ford Ranger, the price differences are so de minimis that you get the one you want.
You end up trading it in 3 years and then spending more money anyway.
Yeah. Like it's not a big difference. All right. Okay. So I went to on the cost difference thing. Yeah, California, Hawaii. Like California is catching up to Hawaii. The Bay Area is more expensive than Hawaii. Coastal California, arguably more expensive than Hawaii. But you might have to pay $3,000-$4,000 rent out there. Out here, rent's expensive too. Don't you get a nicer home there for the $4,000 than here? Like, all right, we just aren't known for.
I mean, it depends what you want in a home. Like my rent in Hawaii is the same as what I'm renting my home for in California. My home was bigger in California, but nicer. I don't know. I think my yard's nicer here. I think my proximity to the ocean's better here.
I'm just inside the 4 walls.
Inside the 4 walls, yeah. You're downsizing a little bit, but that's
So if you got
that's a sacrifice that we knew we were going to make.
Yeah.
If you're just talking about square footage, yeah, you're going to get more in California.
Yeah.
But I mean, proximity to the ocean, square footage, no. You go to a house that's 10 minutes from a beach in California. There's no way you're renting it for what I'm renting it for here.
Sure. Yeah. So there's some people, they're not impressed with the ocean. They're like, palm trees are stupid.
Then don't move to Hawaii.
I don't care about the sun. Yeah. Hawaii's probably not your place, right? But if you're going to be stationed here and that's you, or you're dragging your wife here or something, 1, you can get more of that kind of home in Eva or Kapolei, or 2.
Milani too. You got, you're away from all that. But
maybe Milani Mauka-ish. But that's a one thing. Like cost similar, product and lifestyle, they're just 2 different things. Yeah, maybe lesser house, but the coast by where you live, like one of those beautiful left turns you're gonna make on this earth, right? gorgeous.
Put my house in Newport, and it's gonna be 3 times the amount.
10 grand a month or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. All right. And then aren't property taxes cheaper in Hawaii than in California?
Yeah.
Way cheaper. Way. We have the lowest property tax in the nation for owner occupant primary homeowners. Shoot, there was one more thing. I can't think of it. So we'll just wrap it up. Steve, thanks for being here.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. It's cool to let me know if you guys want us to bring more people on who have moved here, friends or past clients, and just kind of hear their stories, their experience. We certainly go into nuance all over the place, but I just can't speak to what Steven just did, which is move here, try to rent a place without, with 4 kids and with a pet and getting jobs after the fact. So yeah, if you guys have questions, like if you're like, hey man, he was cool. 1, I want to buy a car. I'll connect you with him. Go or just call Tony Hyundai and ask for him. 2, if you have questions, we can relay them. Be like, hey, I'm moving there and I'm from Redlands or I'm from San Bernardino and I'm watching this a month later and I want to connect with that guy. Then we'll see if we can get you connected. But reach out to the team first. Any parting words of advice for channel viewers and watchers, since you were one or still are one?
Yeah, just watch all his videos because gives you a lot of good advice. So yeah, thank you for making the videos. You know, there's a lot of people out there doing it, but I think your Mahi's perspective on everything is much better than what's out there. So
well, let me ask you one question. Were we off on anything? Were you like, man, these guys said this was nice, but it's ugly when I got here or something like that?
No, not at all. I think Kailua, one of the videos, you were a little like Kailua's changing, but I love Kailua. I love the way it is. You might have known a different Kailua, but
we have to clickbait a little and like kind of get you to click on our videos. So that's one. Also, people who live here and are from here and permanently, deep-rooted locals, they can be jaded about Kailua. So I'm just kind of representing that sentiment.
Yeah.
But Kailua is freaking amazing. Like, there's no other downtown beach town. Like, Kailua is so amazing.
Yeah.
I never thought of it growing up, but nowadays I'm like, I'll move to Kailua. I think maybe I can afford Kailua now. So maybe I don't give Kailua its fair shake sometimes.
I mean, there's probably less houses to buy out there too. So
well, it's actually a great market for us because a ton of people moving from the mainland like Kailua, right? Yeah. For all the reasons. You're gonna move to Hawaii, you're like, that's the thing that I'm moving here for. Plus, they got a Target,
right?
So all right, guys.
All right.
See you on the next one.